Tesla taking the biggest hit, down 6%. That's not the only potential headache for Elon Musk.
Yeah, I mean, there are some analysts out there who say it is because of that Model Y changeover that's the real reason behind a lot of the slump.
Yeah, this is bad.
Tesla didn't just lose billions in market value, it lost the narrative. This isn't just a car company. It was the greatest story Wall Street ever told, built on Elon Musk's dazzling promises and blind investor faith. Tesla soared higher than any automaker in history. But when Donald Trump stepped back into the White House, Tesla's fairy tale didn't just end, it exploded. Within months, Tesla's stock collapsed nearly half its value, vaporizing billions overnight. Investors didn't panic. They fled. Hedge funds bolted, institutional giants dumped shares, and Musk's dream turned into Wall Street's nightmare. But how could one political shift unravel the world's biggest electric empire? Was Tesla's billion-dollar brand nothing but smoke and mirrors all along? And why are governments around the world suddenly turning their backs on Musk? Keep watching, because you're about to witness a corporate disaster so shocking, it's reshaping our economic future. The great customer exodus. People didn't just stop buying, they ran. Tesla's collapsing stock price wasn't the only sign of trouble. Behind the scenes, a more dangerous trend had begun. Customers abandoning the brand in droves. Tesla's sales in China, once its most lucrative market, fell by nearly 50% within months. European sales dropped by 45%. In the United States, the company's grip on the electric vehicle market slipped as buyers turned their backs on Musk's empire. This wasn't a simple dip in demand, it was a full-scale revolt. The reasons were clear. For years, Tesla's strategy revolved around aggressive price cuts and minimal upgrades to existing models. But instead of attracting more buyers, those price cuts backfired. Customers perceived the falling prices not as bargains, but as red flags, signals that Tesla's products were losing value. Quality concerns began to swirl. Meanwhile, competitors like General Motors, Ford, Hyundai, and Build Your Dreams launched their own electric vehicles with better technology and more attractive pricing. But the financial missteps were only part of the story. Tesla's image itself had soured. What was once a progressive, futuristic status symbol had become a political liability. Musk's high-profile endorsements, erratic behavior on social media, and cozying up to controversial politicians turned the brand toxic for many former fans. In cities across America, Tesla dealerships were being picketed by customers who felt betrayed. In Europe, the backlash was even stronger. Tesla wasn't just losing customers, it was losing believers. And while customers were leaving, Tesla's own leaders were jumping ship too. But before we talk about that, hit the subscribe button. It is easy, it only takes a second, and most importantly, it helps us a lot. The insider panic. Why Tesla executives and board members cashed out. When the people closest to the company start running, you know the ship is sinking. As customers walked away, something even more alarming unfolded within Tesla's corporate walls. An insider exodus. Kimball Musk, Elon's own brother and longtime board member, offloaded millions of dollars in Tesla shares. The company's chief financial officer followed suit, quietly selling off large chunks of stock. Longtime board members and high-ranking executives who once publicly defended Musk's vision began resigning or cashing out. It wasn't just a few individuals hedging their bets, it was a pattern. Insiders were exiting rapidly, their moves concealed behind public statements of confidence. These weren't random acts of portfolio management. They were unmistakable signs of internal panic. Institutional investors took notice. Major hedge funds and mutual funds, once the loudest cheerleaders of Tesla's future, began reducing their stakes. Some did so quietly, others made headlines. They all shared one sentiment. Those closest to Tesla no longer trusted the company's long-term future. In any corporate collapse, the insider sell-off is the canary in the coal mine. It signals that the people who know the business best see no way out. Wall Street analysts began issuing warnings. The financial press stopped asking if Tesla's stock would bounce back. They started asking if Tesla would survive. But investors weren't the only ones fleeing. The public backlash was about to explode. The death of investor faith. How Wall Street finally gave up on Tesla. Tesla's stock wasn't the only thing crashing, so was the dream. For over a decade, Wall Street had treated Tesla differently. Analysts gave the company leeway others never received. Investors tolerated missed deadlines, production delays, and wild promises because they believed in the bigger picture. That belief evaporated in the face of mounting evidence. Tesla's core financials were deteriorating. Sales were down in every major market. Production costs were up. Regulatory investigations loomed over its self-driving technology. Each bad headline chipped away at the fantasy Musk had spent years building. Large institutional investors who once poured billions into Tesla quietly exited. Hedge funds and pension managers reduced their exposure. Retail investors who had once rallied behind Tesla on social media platforms began pulling out, discouraged by both financial losses and growing public backlash. For the first time since its meteoric rise, Tesla was no longer treated as a growth company, but as a high-risk bet. Major financial analysts downgraded Tesla's stock to sell. Wall Street headlines shifted from praise to warnings. Investor calls were no longer filled with optimism, but skepticism. The loss of investor faith didn't just affect Tesla's stock price. It triggered a broader collapse of confidence in the company's future. The dream of Tesla dominating the electric vehicle market, leading the self-driving revolution, and reshaping global transportation had shattered. Now, with the investors gone, the money disappeared and something even more dangerous happened. Protests erupted in the streets. The protest explosion. These protests are not just angry, they are coordinated. Across North America and Europe, Tesla showrooms have become ground zero for a movement that is no longer hiding in the shadows. From New York to Toronto, from Berlin to Paris, furious crowds have been marching toward Tesla's front doors, not to shop but to shame. What began as scattered frustrations quickly evolved into a structured, organized uprising. In major cities, protesters held what they called mock Tesla funerals. Black coffins were rolled into Tesla dealerships. Attendees wore all black, held candles, and chanted in unison, "Rest in peace, sustainability." The message was unmistakable. Tesla, once the symbol of innovation and hope, was now considered by many to be a fallen idol. And these were not random provocateurs. Many protesters were former Tesla owners, early adopters, customers who had once lined up to buy the Model S or Model 3, proudly sporting their support for electric vehicles and environmental progress. But now those same people stood in picket lines, accusing Elon Musk of betraying the very ideals he had once used to build the brand. Environmental groups joined them. Activists who had supported Tesla's clean energy message in the past now marched under banners that read, "You sold out." Their anger was not just about Tesla's recent business moves. It was about Elon Musk's political transformation. His embrace of divisive rhetoric had turned the company from a climate crusader into, in their words, a vehicle for authoritarian power. Demonstrators stormed Tesla stores, blocking entrances, lying on the showroom floor, and shouting political slogans. "Do not test drive fascism," read one sign in Los Angeles. In Berlin, protesters chained themselves to showroom doors. In Montreal, they occupied a dealership for hours, refusing to leave until the press arrived. This was not a flash in the pan. It was a wave, an uprising. The protests were just the beginning, because while people were chanting in the streets, others were waging a quieter, more destructive war. Sabotage and vandalism. This was not just civil unrest, it was sabotage. As protests surged in the public eye, a darker movement was brewing beneath the surface. Tesla was not just facing chants and signs, it was facing flames. In Massachusetts, a Tesla supercharger station went up in smoke. The Point Shopping Center in Littleton became the scene of a full-scale inferno. Thick black clouds billowed into the sky as fire tore through multiple charging stalls. Investigators later confirmed what many feared. It was arson. And before the fire department could even finish filing its report, another supercharger went up in flames at a separate location nearby. 7 stalls were reduced to ashes. Tesla owners scrambled to find alternate charging stations, only to find those too had been vandalized or disabled. Across the Atlantic, it was the same story. In France, 12 Tesla vehicles were discovered fully incinerated, burned down in what authorities called a deliberate act of destruction. In Germany, 10 more Teslas were torched in separate incidents just days apart. No slogans, no demands, just fire and silence. The coordinated nature of these attacks sent a chill through the Tesla community. Owners began avoiding certain neighborhoods, fearful of drawing attention. The Cybertruck, once a bold icon of Tesla's future, became a target on wheels. Reports emerged of Cybertruck owners being harassed at charging stations, their vehicles keyed, their tires slashed. Tesla, for its part, attempted damage control. They promised to replace destroyed chargers within 48 hours. They installed floodlights and surveillance cameras. But the damage had already been done, not just to infrastructure, but to trust. Owners began asking themselves, is it even safe to drive this car anymore? But while superchargers burned and protesters shouted, the most devastating blow came online. Because behind the flames, an even bigger digital war was brewing. The Tesla takedown movement. Tesla's biggest threat was not a new car from General Motors or Build Your Dreams. It was not Mercedes-Benz or Hyundai. It was its former fans, the ones who had bought in early, who had defended Elon Musk online for years, who had once believed this company could change the world. Now they were leading the movement to destroy it. The epicenter of this campaign, a website called TeslaTakedown.com, what began as a blog by a disillusioned early investor, had transformed into a fully fledged hub for Tesla dissent. It was not just a collection of rants. It was a coordinated campaign of digital sabotage. The goal? Destroy Tesla's reputation and destabilize its financial foundation. The strategy? Weaponize the resale market. Visitors to the site were encouraged to list their Teslas at intentionally low prices on online marketplaces. Flood the market. The site read, make resale values collapse. The idea was simple. If enough people dumped their Teslas, resale prices would plummet, demand for new vehicles would crater, and Tesla's brand, once associated with premium innovation, would become toxic. On YouTube, TikTok, and Reddit, creators posted videos explaining why they were selling their Teslas. Some showed themselves removing Tesla logos with heat guns. Others filmed their cars being towed away to scrapyards. Fully functional vehicles, sacrificed as part of the movement. Hashtags exploded across platforms. Dump Musk, boycott Tesla, never again. The backlash spread like wildfire. Influencers with millions of followers posted about their break with Tesla. Popular streamers mocked Elon Musk live. And ex-Tesla engineers anonymously leaked documents to support claims that the company's tech was falling behind. And it worked. Tesla resale values fell sharply. Demand for new vehicles dipped. Media coverage exploded. And Wall Street noticed. Investors who had once brushed off online outrage now began asking questions. How do you sell a product that no one wants to be seen owning? Surprisingly, beneath all of it, the protests, the sabotage, the takedown campaigns, was one man, Elon Musk. And his decisions were not just driving the chaos, they were igniting it. The Musk effect. Elon Musk did not just make headlines, he made enemies. Once hailed as a visionary who would take humanity to Mars, Musk had morphed into something else entirely, a billionaire whose political outbursts were sinking his own company. It started gradually, a tweet here, a podcast rant there, but over time, the image of Musk as a futuristic innovator gave way to something more divisive. And when he openly endorsed Donald Trump, the backlash was immediate and unforgiving. Tesla's core customer base had always leaned progressive, environmentally conscious, tech-savvy, and eager to support sustainable innovation. But Musk's turn toward conservative politics left many of those customers stunned. In California, Tesla's largest market, approval ratings for the company plunged. Surveys showed that among left-leaning buyers, trust in Musk fell by more than 50%. In Europe, things were even worse. In Germany and France, public favorability for Musk hovered in the low 20s, down from over 70% just a few years prior. But the damage was not just emotional, it was financial. Liberal investors began pulling out. Environmentally focused funds reallocated their money to competitors. Mutual fund managers no longer wanted Tesla in their ESG portfolios, those dedicated to environmental, social, and governance principles. Even inside the company, there was unrest. Leaks suggested that employees were growing uncomfortable with Musk's rhetoric. Some privately questioned whether his political stances were worth the backlash. Others simply left. The brand was collapsing under the weight of its own founder. Elon Musk had made himself inseparable from Tesla, and in doing so had tied the company's fate to his own behavior. Every tweet became a stock risk. Every political endorsement sparked another protest. Every defiant interview cost Tesla more market share. But the consequences of Musk's political branding went beyond consumers and investors. It triggered a response from the highest levels of government. Because the problem was no longer just personal, it was political. And what came next would change Tesla's future forever. But before we get there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to help us. And why not? It is easy. It's free. Just do it. Thanks. The U.S. government's crackdown. The same government that once held up Tesla Incorporated as the embodiment of electric vehicle progress is now working tirelessly to clip its wings. Under President Donald Trump, the federal administration slashed electric vehicle subsidies and redirected attention toward legacy corporations like General Motors and Ford Motor Company, branding them as the true champions of American manufacturing. This shift effectively cut Tesla Incorporated off from the generous benefits it had relied upon for years. Instead of being lauded as a revolutionary figure, Elon Musk found himself portrayed as a liability, especially since his vocal political stances began alienating many within Washington. Federal investigators also took aim at Tesla Incorporated's much-publicized self-driving ambitions. As more autopilot crashes came to light, high-ranking officials demanded comprehensive inquiries, arguing that the company's marketing overpromised a level of safety never guaranteed by actual performance. In courtrooms across the country, families of accident victims filed lawsuits claiming that Tesla Incorporated's technology was marketed in a misleading way. For them, Musk's promises had turned into heartbreak. These legal battles swelled in number, dragging the company into a costly cycle of depositions and settlements that further drained its already strained resources. Meanwhile, regulatory agencies scrutinized Tesla Incorporated's production practices. Concerns about panel gaps, software errors, and battery issues led to additional oversight. Critics argued that the company raced to meet production deadlines without ensuring consistent quality standards. The government, no longer viewing Tesla Incorporated as a strategic partner, tightened the reins by mandating inspections that slowed the pace of deliveries and amplified overhead costs. The political headwinds also put pressure on Tesla Incorporated's share value. As the executive branch focused on backing other automakers, large institutional investors wondered if Elon Musk's company could withstand a climate that seemed intent on reining it in. Public sentiment wavered, and consumer confidence suffered when press conferences framed electric vehicle incentives in a way that excluded Tesla Incorporated from crucial benefits. With every official statement, it became clearer that the days of Tesla Incorporated's special treatment were over. But if the United States of America's door was slamming shut, another major market was about to deal Tesla Incorporated an even harsher blow. China pulls the plug. Tesla Incorporated did not just lose China, it was decisively pushed aside by local competitors and powerful government strategies. Build Your Dreams, NIO, and XPENG rose to prominence under a nationalist policy that favored homegrown electric vehicle manufacturing. For years, Elon Musk's ambitious factory investments hinted at a bright future in the world's largest automotive arena. Yet that optimism dimmed rapidly when stricter regulations, new tariffs, and revised business requirements targeted foreign brands like Tesla Incorporated. Chinese authorities made it clear they wanted technology developed and produced domestically, asserting that the country's interests were best served by bolstering local innovators rather than propping up a foreign enterprise. Tesla Incorporated suddenly faced obstacles at every turn, from increased oversight of its production lines to stringent rules regarding data collection in Chinese factories. That regulatory clampdown stifled the firm's expansion goals and threw off carefully projected growth figures. Public sentiment in urban centers like Shanghai and Beijing shifted as well. National pride in emerging local brands contributed to a significant drop in Tesla Incorporated's popularity. With nationalist campaigns encouraging citizens to buy domestically, Model S and Model X vehicles struggled to compete with their cheaper, government-endorsed rivals. Sales, once projected to climb steadily, fell by more than half in under 12 months. Instead of dominating the electric vehicle conversation, Tesla Incorporated found itself grappling with fewer buyers willing to pay premium prices for models now viewed as foreign imports. Adding to the strain, important supply chain relationships became precarious. Key battery suppliers rerouted resources to local partners. Expansion proposals stalled. Factories ran below capacity, pushing production costs upward while revenues declined. Investors grew anxious, and analysts questioned whether Elon Musk's once celebrated strategy to conquer China had become an anchor dragging Tesla Incorporated down. As the company reeled from this heavy blow, a new storm was gathering across another ocean: the European rejection. In Europe, Tesla Incorporated's brand did not merely lose momentum, it became poison overnight. For years, The continent's eco-conscious consumers adored Musk's vision of sustainable transport. Then came public outcry over quality problems, inconsistent customer service, and Elon Musk's controversial political alliances back in the United States of America. The fallout was severe in places like Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, where polls indicated that favorability ratings for Tesla Incorporated had dropped precipitously. Local carmakers were quick to capitalize on this shift. Established names like Volkswagen, Renault, and BMW unveiled electric vehicle lineups that matched Tesla Incorporated on speed and battery life, but surpassed it in local appeal. With Europeans increasingly concerned about data privacy and corporate accountability, Musk's freewheeling social media persona undercut the sense of trust that had once surrounded his company. By the time new regulations demanded stricter safety features and more transparent data handling, Tesla Incorporated sales were already plummeting. In Germany's celebrated auto heartland, some labor groups staged demonstrations opposing the firm's presence. Critics highlighted Musk's sometimes dismissive attitude toward workplace organization, depicting him as out of touch with European labor values. Meanwhile, French consumer watchdogs flagged concerns about autopilot reliability, fueling a broader perception that Tesla Incorporated's innovations were more hype than substance. Without the protective cloak of public goodwill, Tesla Incorporated found itself navigating complex legal requirements that forced costly adjustments to its vehicle designs. Software updates triggered new compliance reviews, and each delay chipped away at profits. In the United Kingdom, potential customers faced far more enticing deals from national manufacturers who offered better warranties and locally sourced components, aligning with the region's emphasis on sustainability. But this growing European backlash was not the final blow. As word of Tesla Incorporated's rapid decline spread, international markets began reacting in ways no one had anticipated. What began as a wave of discontent in specific regions soon turned into a worldwide reckoning for the once unassailable electric vehicle pioneer. The worldwide domino effect. How Tesla's crisis went global. When Tesla Incorporated collapsed in the United States of America, China, and Europe, it caused ripples that traveled through the entire global supply chain. Battery producers, many of whom had counted on steady orders from Elon Musk's factories, scrambled to find new clients or downsize their operations. Tech stocks linked to the electric vehicle ecosystem experienced roller coaster valuations, with shareholders growing wary of any enterprise resembling the troubled automaker. Meanwhile, policymakers in several nations reevaluated their stance on autonomous driving, fearing the political fallout of propping up a controversial brand. Trade tensions surfaced as governments debated how to handle imported electric vehicles. Nations that had once offered open doors to Tesla Incorporated's expansion began imposing more stringent certification processes, citing safety or environmental concerns. This left the company floundering, incapable of recapturing the swift growth that once dazzled onlookers. In a matter of months, the prestige that Musk had built over more than a decade appeared to vanish. The company's supply chain partners, from chip manufacturers to industrial robotics providers, saw demand forecasts revised downward. Many had planned to scale up capacity to accommodate Tesla Incorporated's announced vehicle launches. Suddenly, those expansion plans were shelved, resulting in layoffs and job insecurities within wider tech industries. At the same time, competitor brands seized the moment, signing contracts for battery technology and raw materials that Tesla Incorporated could no longer afford or guarantee. The dramatic upheaval sent shockwaves through emerging markets too, where smaller producers once dreamed of licensing Tesla Incorporated's battery patents or partnering for manufacturing. Those deals evaporated, leaving factories idle and local workers uncertain about their futures. Political leaders who had championed Tesla Incorporated as a proof of modern ingenuity now found themselves backtracking, searching for new alliances with competitors who seemed far more stable. In effect, Tesla Incorporated's downfall exposed fragile links between technology hype and real-world viability, prompting a global reassessment of what sustainable innovation truly demands. For many worldwide, Tesla Incorporated's revolution abruptly vanished, but the real consequences were only beginning to ripple outward. How legacy automakers capitalized on Tesla's collapse. While Tesla floundered under plummeting confidence and crippling public scrutiny, a handful of older car manufacturers saw a golden opportunity. General Motors, Ford Motor Company, and Volkswagen spent years refining their electric vehicle technology, waiting for the right moment to surge forward. When Tesla's market share began to crack, these legacy giants unleashed aggressive expansion plans that included building expansive battery plants, partnering with tech innovators, and rolling out newly designed electric models. Suddenly, the conversation among consumers was no longer about how Tesla led the way, but about how these resurrected powerhouses provided more reliable and affordable options. Part of this shift was fueled by government subsidies that once went to Tesla. Policymakers, eager to promote stability, started redirecting incentives toward companies like General Motors, Ford Motor Company, and Volkswagen. These corporations, seen as more traditional and less controversial, tapped into a wave of fiscal support that eased production costs and helped them undercut Tesla's prices. Buyers, already wary of Tesla's high-profile scandals, found renewed faith in established brands that offered similar performance without the drama. Where Tesla once touted innovation at all costs, its legacy rivals adopted a more measured approach, focusing on proven reliability and familiar customer service structures. That shift in ethos proved especially appealing to consumers who had grown disenchanted with Elon Musk's unpredictable leadership. In showrooms across multiple continents, curious shoppers discovered that driving electric did not have to mean embracing chaos. As Tesla struggled to defend its eroding market share, longtime automotive names pushed into every niche Tesla once dominated. From sleek sedans to family-friendly crossovers, they boasted competitive ranges and charging solutions that benefited from newly upgraded networks. Suddenly, being a Tesla owner felt less like belonging to an exclusive club and more like clinging to a faltering brand. And they were not the only ones taking advantage. The workers were rising too. The labor revolt, how Tesla's crisis sparked union movements. Tesla's downfall did not merely affect stockholders or high-profile executives. It set off a powerful response among automotive workers who felt that Elon Musk's erratic leadership had jeopardized the entire industry. Anti-Musk protests, fueled by anger over layoffs and perceived corporate arrogance, galvanized labor activists across the manufacturing heartlands. Union organizers seized the moment, drawing parallels between Tesla's troubles and broader concerns about job security in an era of rapid technological change. As Tesla continued battling headlines about vandalism and plummeting sales, labor leaders found fresh momentum. They argued that the same disregard for accountability that harmed Tesla's reputation also revealed flaws in how the company treated its workforce. This sentiment extended far beyond Tesla's factories, reaching employees of once traditional competitors. Gatherings outside various plants featured banners demanding fair wages and transparent corporate governance. In many instances, these demonstrations pointed to Tesla as a cautionary tale of what happens when a charismatic figure wields unchecked influence. Workers at some Tesla facilities began speaking anonymously about deteriorating conditions and sudden policy shifts. Seeing their colleagues struggle, labor groups at other car manufacturers pushed harder for better contracts and clearer work standards. The ripple effects were undeniable. Where management once tried to keep discussions of unionization under control, they now faced emboldened worker collectives. From assembly lines to design labs, the belief grew that any company could turn toxic under the wrong leadership. This labor movement resurgence transcended Tesla's specific issues, encompassing fundamental questions about the future of the automotive industry. As electric vehicles became more common, employees demanded a voice in the decisions shaping their livelihoods. The turbulence at Tesla acted as both a catalyst and a warning sign, spotlighting the vulnerable position of staff at firms driven by sudden corporate pivots. But the biggest shift was not political or financial, it was technological. The EV industry reset. How Tesla's fall changed everything. Tesla's decline did not derail the rise of electric vehicles. Instead, it sparked a dramatic realignment of priorities. When Elon Musk's public battles and frantic price reductions overshadowed the brand's innovations, both consumers and policymakers began reevaluating what they actually wanted from the next generation of cars. Affordability, reliability, and brand heritage took center stage. People who once chased the sleek Tesla aura discovered they could find decent range, efficient charging options, and sturdy design in vehicles produced by veteran companies companies or up-and-coming startups. This realignment swept through international markets. In Europe, officials reconsidered incentive programs, favoring practical cars that aligned with local labor interests. In the United States, support for electric vehicles broadened beyond the cult of personality that Musk had created. Meanwhile, in parts of Asia, producers like BYD gained an even stronger foothold, challenging traditional manufacturers and reshaping competition on a massive scale. Policy decisions mirrored these sentiments. Regulatory bodies tightened scrutiny of grandiose self-driving claims while rewarding transparent compliance and incremental improvements in safety. Governments did not abandon the move toward electrification, but they did become choosier about who received official backing. As a result, companies with steady funding, clear expansion plans, and robust after-sales support saw their appeal skyrocket. Buyers, in turn, realized they did not have to endure drama to enjoy cutting-edge transportation. Consumer attitudes followed suit. Many former Tesla fans, upset by Musk's political alliances or fed up with service mishaps, looked elsewhere. Word spread that electric vehicles could be both innovative and stable. Marketing campaigns by General Motors, Ford Motor Company, and multiple Asian brands highlighted trustworthiness and community responsibility, in stark contrast to the controversies plaguing Tesla. In just a few short years, the entire perception of the electric vehicle landscape shifted, and for Tesla, there was only one question left. Can Tesla survive? The final gamble that will decide everything. This is not merely about salvaging one company. It is about whether the entire electric vehicle revolution will remain tethered to Tesla's fading star. Musk faces a daunting cash burn rate that demands urgent changes. Yet every attempt at a turnaround seems undercut by investor cynicism. Financial analysts who once championed the brand now see a crisis of leadership, rife with missteps and overpromises. Share prices hover precariously, leaving institutional financiers anxious for some semblance of stability. Bankruptcy rumors swirl as operational costs climb and sales figures remain unimpressive. Musk's bids to woo the public with last-ditch technology teasers, like brainy infotainment updates or vague battery breakthroughs, no longer command the same awe, and an onslaught of class-action lawsuits, many tied to failed full self-driving claims, further drains Tesla's resources. Even loyal fans grapple with plummeting resale values, uncertain software updates, and fewer convenient service centers. The mystique of Tesla's brand is eroding faster than anyone could have imagined. Critics point to a spiral that becomes harder to reverse with each passing quarter. If Tesla cannot secure fresh capital or regain consumer trust, liquidation could loom on the horizon. Meanwhile, Musk doubles down on hopeful rhetoric, insisting that a new flagship model or transformative manufacturing technique will spark a rebound. Yet those grand declarations land on increasingly skeptical ears. Competing car makers, armed with robust supply chains and deeper pockets, wait patiently for Tesla's final misstep. Whether the company manages to avert disaster or succumbs to market forces, the ramifications will stretch across the entire industry. If Tesla collapses, it might confirm that one visionary leader cannot sustain perpetual disruption. Should Tesla claw back from the brink, it could vindicate those who still see Musk as a pioneer. Either way, the stakes have never been higher. Now the question is, will this be Tesla's final chapter? Or can the electric titan rise from the ashes to redefine global innovation once again? What do you think? Let's talk down in the comments. Thanks for watching till the end, and I will see you there.